Hey guys, it's Israel back again with Heavy Metal Reptiles, and today we're going to talk about what to expect coming into the reptile hobby. Doing this video because I didn't really know what to expect when I got into the reptile hobby, and especially now doing YouTube and Instagram and things. Obviously now more people are seeing how I take care of my animals and things I've researched, believed in, and stuff. So I think it's something good for me to cover for someone that might be, starting to buy up reptiles, or may have a few and is just getting into the community or something. Kind of some things to expect and understand before you start putting yourself out there. So we're going to jump into the first big topic. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is this industry or this hobby is very cutthroat. People are very passionate about what they do, and really aren't afraid to speak their mind, whether they're right or wrong, or if it's just what they believe and there's 100 ways to do the same thing. It's just how these people are. And it's not a bad way to be, but it's, for a newcomer, can be pretty stressful. When it comes to asking questions and things, they can be very aggressive and can be pretty mean. You definitely have to have some thicker skin, I think, at some points to handle them. But I've been on the firing end of it before, under fire before, over something completely stupid too. I posted a picture of one of Courtney's first sheds after I got her, and it was a full shed, and I was excited because I had been fighting her humidity, trying to get the cage to regulate out and stay consistent, and it finally did, and she got a full head to tail shed, or nose to tail shed, and posted a picture in a Facebook group, and people went off about, I can't believe you were fighting your humidity, and she had a flaky shed at one point, and blah blah blah, because I told him, I was obviously honest and told him, there was a flaky shed beforehand, and I was having problems with humidity until then. So it was something I had fixed, and they even wanted to jump down my throat about it, which was kind of my wake up call. And now I just kind of tell people to get wrecked because my animals are doing fine, and I haven't. Well, okay, so I got her out and for the video, and noticed she had shed out finally because we knew she was coming up on it. She went into blue and everything, and then it disappeared, and then today she had her shed in there. But it was like a two-part shed. It was weird. It was from head halfway down her body split, and then the rest in another piece, which I've never seen before. So kind of cool. I'm sure it's not uncommon. I just have never had a snake personally do it, so it was kind of cool. But anyways, yeah, it can be pretty cutthroat and at it, and you just can't take offense to it. Try and sift through the crap. And like I said, I've gotten to a point now where my animals are fine. They all do well, and I take care of what needs to be taken care of. So even when people don't agree with necessarily how I'm keeping or what I'm doing, it's kind of like it's my way. There's not one set rule or way to do it, as long as you're within your parameters with your humidity and stuff. You don't really have too much to worry about. Just know your knowledge, I guess, or your facts about it, which will help you and take you a long way. And in situations like that, when they are jumping down your throat, you have facts to back it up. So go ahead and move on to the second tip. Okay, the next thing to expect, I guess, or tip, kind of. This one's like a what to expect and a tip. Do your research when you get into these animals. If you're a beginning owner and you haven't had a lot of experience, I guess, handling or caring for reptiles, make sure you're doing your research. If you post into one of these groups and they start asking you questions trying to help you, and you can't answer basic information, they're gonna rip you to shreds. Just fair warning. Know what morphs you're buying. So if you posted a picture in the group of this girl, and you said her head's flopping over to the side, or she keeps almost like she's getting disoriented, they're going to ask you, you know, what morph is it, more than likely, honestly, to start with, just to see if you know. And she's a spider. And we know that they have neurological issues, so that's something that, like, when you're researching on what morph you want to buy, you want to be aware of that. She's not the only morph that is known for neurological issues. There's other morphs. So it's just about doing your research and knowing what you're getting into to be able to answer the stupid, petty questions they're going to ask you in these groups. And I'm only telling you guys this. I know people's going to hate this video and this hobby, but it's facts. I mean, it's stuff I dealt with getting into it. Maybe it's just a Facebook thing. As far as it shows and stuff, they've been pretty cool as far as the people I've dealt with so far, but I'm also really careful who I deal with at shows, which we're going to get into. You know, so you need to really research what morph you're buying and things like that. Also, do your research on your humidities, know exactly your humidities. Maybe the humidity you're keeping it at specifically, you should probably know and have a ballpark for what you want to keep at for those kinds of people. Because they're going to ask you guys questions that are just stuff you should know that you don't know, or you know, an inexperienced person might not know, and then they're going to rip you apart. It happened to me. I mean, I posted in a group one time when I first got Firestorm, the pied ball, and asked if they thought he was a normal pied ball or not, because I didn't know. I thought he looked different. Yeah, they ringed me all up and down, left and right. It was insane, just because I wasn't for sure exactly, wanting to make sure there was nothing else mixed into the morph. I didn't know what I knew now. Back then, you know, me, I just told people to get wrecked. Like I said, I kind of got tired of putting up with people's stupidity. So, but I had to sit there and take it, and I took something from it. And, you know, the number one thing is don't be afraid to ask, but be prepared for those kinds of people, because they're everywhere in this hobby. So, I know this video might be boring. I'm extremely tired. Worked all day. It's been a rough week. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the third thing to expect in this hobby. Okay, so this one again is kind of like a what to expect tip-ish thingy. Be careful who you buy from. I say this again out of experience. You guys all know Lilith. If you follow me on Instagram, you know we're having problems with Lilith, and we're having problems finding a vet that will see her. And I can't say she was a bad buy, because I love her to death. She's awesome. She's my first blue tongue skink, but I'm pretty sure she was a wild caught. My wife knows more about the lizard, or knew more about the lizards, I should say, than what I did when we got her. And it was bought for my wife, and now Lilith is kind of like my home dog, so, or home skink. I'm pretty sure she's a wild caught. I'm pretty sure, I don't know that for fact, she has scales that look like there was ticks on her at one point, and she also was the one that brought the mites into our collection, that I talked about in earlier videos, and kind of touch base with that. So you really need to know who you're buying from. Believe it or not, again, people aren't going to like me telling you this, if you're a beginning reptile keeper, or entry-level reptile keeper, and you don't know what you're looking for on your snake, please do not go to a show and buy an animal. Don't go there and go, well, this one's cheap, let's get that one. That was our mistake with Lilith. We made that mistake. She was an awesome price. I was thinking I was getting a steal, and it ended up costing me more money than if I would have just bought a full price skink. You live and learn. Know who you're buying from. I mean, there's a guy here in Ohio, I think his company name is BMC Reptiles. Is that what it is? BMC Exotics. BMC Exotics. Zooms from him, and I've seen a lot of his animals. I follow him on Instagram and things, and I've seen him at a few shows. He's a great breeder. I've yet to see anything with his animals I wouldn't like. I guess we'll tag him in this so you guys can find him. if you're interested. And he doesn't even know me from Adam. I bought a snake from him and I talked to him at 2 different shows. But I've seen all his animals that he brings, and he's not paying me to say this or anything, if that helps. I'm just saying, he is he seems like a really good breeder. All the animals look real healthy and things. So, and then that's a guy that I'm going to continue to go back to because he's a reputable breeder now in my eyes, because I've seen his animals and his quality of animals. And that's the stuff you guys need to look for. That's the stuff you guys need to look for. There's a lot of breeders that go to these shows and the animals look good there, and then you get closer to them. Don't be afraid to pull your phone out even and put a flashlight on these things. I mean, you guys are going to make money investments, and that's what these animals are. Along with them being your pets, they're investments that you guys are going to have to take care of long term. If you're buying a sick animal, you're going to have to deal with that in the next couple days when you have it at home and this guy's back in Indiana and you're in Ohio, and you have no way of getting a hold of him because you didn't grab his business card, or he didn't have business cards laying out. Just things to think about, guys. I mean, this hobby is really sketchy, and you kind of got to learn and know what you're looking for. So, move on to the next thing to expect. So, number 4 is shows that I just covered pretty much in the last section, but we're going to specifically talk about the shows now, not about the breeders. And this is something that I want you guys to take with a grain of salt. The shows that we've been to, we're going to one tomorrow actually, and it's probably the better one around Ohio in my opinion. It's bigger, and it's what a show should be. There's deals there, there's supplies there discounted for the most part, and there's a lot more animals. We go to a different one. For some reason, we end up going to it a lot. Where's that at? Hilliard. It's in Hilliard, Ohio, over by Columbus. And I'm gonna tell you, it sucks because it's terrible. You have like a very small amount of vendors. I think there's like maybe 12 vendors there, because 2 take up each side of the whole show. I mean, so you only got like 2 main vendors, and then you got a bunch of little ones there in the middle. Tomato, potato, I guess. Some people are all for it. They like that setup because you have 2 vendors that you're pretty much dealing with. And they bring every species of anything you can imagine. All the morphs, the ball python, they have everything. Skinks out the butt, I mean everything. But
$1,000 for a rainbow.
Yeah, that's the other problem with that, is then you got them upcharging everything because they're the only ones carrying it.
The bloody skink.
Yeah, there was a bloody skink. Okay, anyways, this is just stuff you gotta watch for. So, my tip to you guys, and I wish I would have done this back when I was buying a lot from shows. Go to a show, find the animals that you like. The person that, if you're looking for a pied ball, for instance, and you go to this guy's booth and he has 10 pied balls sitting there, and then random other morphs, get his card. Don't buy it there. Go home and get on his Instagram, his Facebook, and things. They're going to post the best pictures, but there's going to be slip-ups. Study those pictures. Make sure that you think that you can trust this person. Make sure that you go and check other prices. Make sure that you guys are doing your research, again, even with your breeders, where you're buying them from. And make sure if you hold an animal at the show, you sanitize after. You can carry diseases home to your snakes or your lizards or whatever you're keeping, along with illness and everything else. So just make sure you're sanitizing after you hold an animal. And yes, my wife paused the video and reminded me, make sure, or don't be afraid to pull your phone out and check prices while you're standing. You can have the animal in your hand. Pull your phone out and check the prices. Sometimes it seems like a good deal, but then you get on, so people say, well, Morph Market, you got to pay shipping and whatever else. This is true. But if you didn't have to pay shipping, what's that animal priced at? Because that's the price of the animal. The shipping is just what you're paying to get the animal. So if you're at the show, you should be paying the price of the animal. And they always say, well, we mark it up a little bit because morph market, you have to pay shipping, so you can pay a little bit more. No, the animal's worth this, and I'm going to pay the shipping to have it delivered because I really want that snake. When you're at the show, it's there, it's now. And don't be afraid to try and negotiate pricing either. It's frowned upon because people are like, well, this is my snake, and it's the best, and blah, blah, blah. Not true. Someone else has your exact same snake. It's true. Yeah, the line on its left ear, or maybe not ear, left eye is lower on that snake, but it looks the same. Don't be afraid to argue with them or negotiate with them. They might get mad, and if they get mad, they probably aren't worth buying from, honestly. It's all about business still. So we're going to move on to number 5.
Go.
So this one, again, and unfortunately, with this list, everything's kind of similar, but there's little things that you can take from each individual topic here. This one's about knowing where your animals are coming from. So again, my advice to you guys as a new reptile keeper would honestly be to find your breeders at the shows and buy from them later. Apparently my vape is not allowed in the YouTube video. Find your breeders and buy from them later. Don't buy from them at the show. You want to know where your animals are coming from, and you want as much insight to the way they're keeping those animals as possible. People make fun of me for this, and I have a lot of weird beliefs when it comes to reptiles. Like, I actually pull my snakes out for exercise. Believe it or not. I get them out, and I put them on the floor, and I let them move. Some people say, or would argue, that they don't need exercise. I call BS. All living things need exercise. But with this, if a snake is kept in poor conditions before it gets to you, it can make poor attitude. It can make... I'm sorry, I won't do that again. Yes, I will. It can make a poor attitude. It can make them aggressive towards you. It can give them kind of like a skittish reaction to you. And it can just make them a depressed animal in the beginning, and it can take time to get them out of that. And depression, with an animal can be followed with hunger strikes and what's it called? Fragile, not like to be touched. I don't know. I'm tired, guys. Things like that. So just something to keep in mind when you're, like I said, when you're looking. I wouldn't buy from a show, honestly. I wouldn't buy from a pet store though either. Like I said, I would find your breeders and research them and make sure that your snake's coming from the best possible condition best possible conditions that you can find. Small tubs for a snake can mentally be straining on the snake. Now, I'm not saying that's a reason not to buy them, but it's definitely something you want to know prior, I feel like. Obviously, a lot of your breeders, most of your breeders, keep their snakes in way too small tubs. My kind of rule of thumb is the tub needs to be long enough, minimal, for your snake to stretch completely out. Your tank, your tub, whatever you're keeping them in, there has to be a wall there that they can stretch completely out. I prefer 6 inches to a foot longer, but as long as they can stretch out front to back, I say you're good. And that's how I keep mine. That's how I like to see the snakes I'm being bought from kept. Obviously, Black Widow here, I can tell you for sure, when we bought her, she was not in that kind of condition. There's nothing wrong with the place we bought her from or the person we bought her from. There's something wrong with her. She's a little on the left to center side. Anyways, there's nothing wrong with the way he was keeping her. It's just not what I prefer. She's turned out to be a great snake. I actually looked in her enclosure of what she was being kept before I bought her to see if there was feces in there or how it kind of presented itself as far as how they were keeping her, because it's things that I like to know that gives me a little bit of insight to how the snake is going to be. And this goes the same for all across the board, especially when you start talking things like if you're getting into monitors. Monitors are extremely intelligent creatures. Pretty much most your lizards, almost all your lizards, are extremely intelligent creatures that have more, I feel like, mental capacity than, say, a ball python. That's not putting down ball pythons. I feel like they're still really smart creatures or animals. But you just seem to get more from a lizard as far as their reaction and things. Like they're more alert and understanding. So just something to keep in mind there, that these things don't go just for snakes, even though that's what I'm comparing most of them to, because that's who I have out. It goes, you are my new bracelet. It goes to everything, all your reptiles, especially like tegus. Tegus are extremely smart creatures too. So just keep that in mind as you're getting into this hobby. So we're going to move to the outro now. Alright guys, with all that being said, I know it was kind of an everywhere video, and it was kind of like clumped together in a way, like everything kind of pertained to everybody, but that's just the way this list ended up. I'm tired, so I know it might be a little bit of a boring video, but I'm hoping you guys can take something from it and kind of give you insight to what you are to expect getting into this hobby. I don't want to scare anybody away from it, I just want you to be prepared. You meet a lot of really cool people and you meet a lot of douchebags. It's pretty much the same amongst all hobbies. I mean, yeah, for the most part, all hobbies. You just learn to deal with it, roll with the punches. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would go through all the other stuff, but you should be watching the previous videos to know that stuff. So now we're going to leave a little mystery, so you got to go watch another video. So, yeah. Rock on, my friends. I'll see you guys in the next one.